Welcome everybody, this is ERO's F3 Championship. We join about 5 minutes into qualifying due to some technical issues, but I will keep you all informed as quickly as I can. We're in the British Grand Prix for round 6 of our championship, and can't wait to get started with you all. My name is Webbo. I'll be your commentator today and for the foreseeable future with F3. Like I say, we're underway in qualifying, and we'll be with you very soon. I believe it's going to be fully wet, as far as I've heard, for all the sessions today. So should be a massive challenge for the drivers, and I'm sure everybody tuning into the stream is licking their lips at the prospect of watching these high quality F3 drivers manage to navigate the tricky Silverstone track in its typical British weather. I say that, of course, as someone who is British and fully aware of our fickle weather. Kones goes provisional pole considerably faster than everybody else, almost Lewis Hamilton 2008 spec here, with a 1.1 second faster time on the wet tyres. Glorious run by Kones. We also have Pangrio, who's one of the top guys in the championship, out there right now on a hot lap, and let's stay with him as he finishes the lap, heading down to Vale and about to navigate Club, which is going to be torturous on acceleration on the way out. Needs to stay away from the white lines, any painted surfaces, any curbs, and away he goes with a 38.7 and second place right now for Pangrio. I think our drivers are probably going to keep running all the way through this session as the track improves and improves, and probably several of them will have fueled all the way to the end of this session to try and get their car running for the maximum amount of time. Banks doesn't set a time and invalidates on this particular lap. Konis is back out, of course, with a small improvement through his second sector. So looking to lower the bar even further for the rest of the field. He's already got 7/10 on everybody. Can he improve that? Small wiggles on the way through. Makes an improvement at 138.047 for Konis. Great stuff. What has Pangrio got? He's just gone through Cops, and we'll follow him along. I'll get you in touch with the current standings very shortly. But this is absolutely making our drivers work incredibly hard today. Welcome if you join us on the stream. Welcome to Wagonar, who's here already commenting exactly what we're looking for. Thank you very much. Leading the championship is, of course, Konis, but Pangrio, having missed out on the last race, the last two races, has slipped to 5th place with Maciek and Edzak in between them. Oh, excuse me, he's in 4th place, Pangrio. Fry Pepper won't take the start today either. It had a late change, and a fastest 3rd sector for Pangrio means he was good enough to improve and is only now a 1/4 of a second away from Konis. What about Lexa? Lexa, a newcomer to the league. I think he's reserving today. Confirm he's reserving. He's just invalidated. And then we've got Hot Dog going a little bit faster, but he's way out there on the edge of the track on the way through, on the way out of Village, and is invalidated as a result. What about Maciek? Are we expecting anything better from Maciek right now? We'll stay with him through his first sector and see what happens. Konis, I think, has headed into the pits. Pangrio still circulating. I don't know if he's taken the best out of his wet tyres or not. Potentially on his way. In 6th place in the championship we have Davey with just 1 start and 1 win through the whole thing, and he's gone off to F2, I believe now. Banks is P7 at the moment. So the drivers had to be very patient for me. I had some technical issues starting, and appreciate everybody's patience on that front. Maciek then. Banks has gone from the session. I think we've got a yellow flag caused by that, so Banks will not set a time and will start completely out of rhythm, as you would expect. Maciek, a purple middle sector. I think the track starting to improve possibly. A voyage into the unknown as he approaches braking and turning point for Stowe. Got it done very nicely indeed. This one could be pretty special for Maciek. Currently P7, just club to navigate now. This is the club corner, because on the inside corner of that corner you've got the clubhouse for the British Racing Drivers Club, and he goes up to P4 with a nice time there. What's Pangrio up to? He's 900ths slower currently through the second sector, but that's through the first sector, sorry, and that's certainly retrievable. One downshift, two downshifts. Changed his mind on corner exit. We head now through the Maggots-Beckett's section. You can see puddles on the racetrack. Not much of a dry or drier line forming, but something there, a slightly darker patch of tarmac you can see. Kone still doing all of this without ABS, under significant pressure from his competitors to turn that off, and still out there with the fastest time. Pangrio not happy with that one, not going to go any quicker, while Edzak is going faster, 3/10 so far through the first sector. He hasn't actually crossed the line for the first sector yet. We'll get that shortly. He's on the Wellington Straight at the moment, heading down for Brooklands. He is slightly over his time, so unlikely to see a major improvement in track position, being over the time and having about 6/10 difference between him and P2 currently. Now, remind me, Wagonar, are you here as a fan of Casper? I had a feeling you were a Casper supporter. Is that correct? Edzak getting the car down through the gears with the ever tightening radii of Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Edzak has recovered a little bit to get a purple middle sector, so this could see him getting past Maciek. Let's see what he's got. Car looking to have good grip at the moment. I think the drivers will be able to put fairly full wet setups on, so cranking up the downforce, softening the car. A big improvement for Edzak, 3/10 and he's up to P3. Great lap from Edzak. And what do we see from Black Wolf? He's warming the tyres through the puddles. I'm not sure that's going to warm them, but clearly not on a fast lap. What about Casper? Casper's out there just looking for Stowe. Big deceleration on the way into Stowe. Very surprising on the amount that he brought it, amount of speed he took off there. We go through Vale into Club now. Looking good on the way out, but no improvement this time out. I think he's starting a proper hot lap now. Who else have we got out there? Lisa's out there. Hey to Pichulo, good to have you with us. I think Yanni has invalidated, but I think we might have a McLaren out there. Is that Black Wolf? No, I'm afraid he has invalidated. Let's have a look at an AlphaTauri. Is that Edzak going round again, ever faster, or is he decided to come into the pits? There's definitely a much wider operating window for these tyres, as the tyres degrade slower than soft tyres, and at the same time the track evolves faster. So the session, really, the best strategy I've ever seen is simply to be out there turning laps in, and Edzak makes a small improvement again out there onto P3 still, but it's got closer to P2 and further away from P4. This one looking good. Pachulo saying he's here for Coninas. Is that Kones? I think it must be. Big moment for Edzak, and he spins the car. just on the little bit of track between farm and village, where we need traction at an absolute premium. What's Yanni doing? Yanni is out there, just absolutely threw that lap away with that wiggle moment, looking to try and get a good start as the McLaren comes screaming by of Black Wolf. No, Konis starts his next fast lap, and we join him as he tackles his difficult series of corners as he heads down towards farm. Excuse me, we're into Maggots and Beckett's, and he got out the way of Yanni. I thought with the McLaren screaming by that was Konis earlier. I think it is. Pangrio's a little bit further behind on the track, so probably Konis the man to watch. Getting the car all prepared and ready for our session. Now and on to the Hamilton straight, and we get going. A blended throttle, not a downshift on the way through. Small under rotation, you saw the right front lock up there. It's obviously got the brake bias towards the front slightly uncomfortably. Big amount of short shifting. Pangrio, new pole position by 0.17 of a second. 0.017 of a second. Pangrio up to pole, so Konis now needs to retrieve this one. He's slightly over his first sector time. Let's see what he's got. Unlikely to be able to get back round again for another lap. This is it. This is everything. Two downshifts. You heard the revs coming off and into the apex nicely into Copse. Now it's Maggots and an invalidation that could potentially ruin the lap. We'll see if he can hold on, but we'll join Edzak and see if Edzak has got anything, because he's on a lap right now on his way out. We'll get a picture. He's 4/10, almost half a second under his time. This could see him, if he can just maintain this, he could actually get pole here. So Edzak with a purple middle sector, gaining ground on Konis and Pangrio ahead of him. What has Edzak got? This could see a big step forward for him. He's got Konis ahead of him. Konis, I think, will get one more lap, and Edzak into P2. Look at the margins. 38.030, 033, 047 are our margins at the front. Konis, I think got round and will be able to start this lap again. What has he got? Pangrio, that's all she wrote for Pangrio. Edzak won't go any better, and potentially I've got too many yellow flags to see the timer on the countdown, and we'll see if anyone can better this one. Konis with the fastest first sector of anybody. Oh, it's on now. It's absolutely on. These guys are... I've never seen pole position contested with such tight margins as this before. What a thrill. Talking of thrills, we throw the car into Copse. Magic won't go any faster than any further up the grid than P4. Checkered flags coming out all around. Casper up to P6. Hot Dog P9. What does this time show for Konis? He's nearly 2/10 faster. It's all about these last three corners, and Konis could steal this one at the death. Into Stowe. He's on old tyres, 3 laps old wets, and he's making it work. Down into Vale. That under rotation characteristic of Konis, running with no ABS and on his way out of club. What has he got here? Konis for the line and pole position in the death at 1:37.844. Terrific lap. Absolutely amazing. And Konis steals it right at the end. But that was close. close battling between our top drivers. What an amazing session. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I know it was curtailed by 5 minutes, but wow. Konis with pole from Pangrio and Edzak. Then Maciek, Yanni, Kasper, Jesper Fay, Lexa. And that's as many as I could read out before we end the session. What a brilliant, brilliant session. Well done to Konis. Well done to everybody who got their work done. Fantastic stuff. So confirmation then that the Portuguese driver Konis managed to get pole position for McLaren, followed by the Greek Pangrio in the Alfa Romeo, and then Edzak, Maciek, Yanni and Kasper, Jesper Fay, Lexa, Hot Dog and Miyachi in 10th position. And then starting at the back of the grid, we've got Lisa in 11th, Black Wolf in 12th, and Bankst getting 13th position. And that was your qualifying soaking wet British Grand Prix session for F3 in the ERO Championship. And we'll be heading straight into the race. We'll just ask any drivers listening in if they might just mute themselves. One of the settings that seems to be characteristic of ERO is that our drivers end up their microphones picking something up occasionally, and occasionally it's my voice in echo that I get going on as well. Let me see if I can't do something about it. I hope that has made a difference for you. We will start with our formation lap as we get underway in the soaking wet. We've got a fairly random AWS prediction on race strategies. It's anybody's. In these wet conditions with wet tyres, absolutely anybody's guess as to how the drivers are going to tackle their strategy. I know it's particularly difficult for everybody, but if Ayrton Senna's race in the 1993 Donington Grand Prix for the European Grand Prix at Donington Park is anything to go by, the lesson from that race and most wet races ever since has been to just always be on the correct tyre at the correct time. Never anticipate what the weather might do or has done, and be out there and just keep putting tyres. I think Ayrton Senna winning that race with a 5-stop strategy, just continually changing tyres to suit the current conditions. So absolute classic Grand Prix. If you've ever got the chance to go back and watch it, I can highly recommend it, from my most local track. So down here at the back of the grid, let's have a look at the team's situation. Ferrari starting 4th and 13th. McLaren uncharacteristically separated by a long distance, 1st and 12th. Alpine 5th and 11th. And Miyake is the sole Williams driver. The Red Bulls fairly close together, 7th and 9th. And we have Pangrio and Lexa starting 2nd and 8th for Alfa Romeo. 1 AlphaTauri tonight, and 1 Aston Martin of Kasper in 6th. So no one really having to worry too much about tripping over their teammate in the race here. Certainly off from the beginnings, so don't have to be too careful. Jesper Fay and the Secret Hot Dog will start line astern from each other, and we'll see how it all works its way through the first few laps. But I really think this race is anybody's. The threat of the wet conditions are such that anyone could lose it at any moment, and our drivers are going to be absolutely eyes on stalks. And credit to everybody who manages to keep the car pointing in the right direction and the right patch of tarmac. A reminder then, this is ERO's round 6 for F3, the British Wet Grand Prix. And it looks like we're about to get going. Here we go. We've got 5 lights. It's lights out and go, go, go. And away goes Konis, gently squeezing the throttle with the Alfa Romeo up the inside, forcing him round the long way, just about managing to hold on and let the Alfa Romeo of Pangrio away like a rocket ship. And beautiful start from him into first place from second on the grid. Konis now on the defensive from cars trying to take the outside. We've got an Alpine of Yanni trying to get down the inside of the Alfa Romeo of Edzak and going very nicely. Edzak with the better drive out of the corner down onto the Wellington Straight, and they head down to Brooklands for the first time. This is where we will get to see drivers tackling, shaping for a move, and Yanni makes a difference but doesn't quite get it done. Trying now the inside line through Brooklands and Luffield. And this one could work. He's got good drive coming out of Luffield. He'll have the inside line. I fancy Edzak will try the sweeper around the outside. They touch. Off throttle probably, hopefully, because they just about navigated that one, and through goes Yanni. A move that took 5 corners to get done, but it was done, and beautifully done by Yanni, up into P3 now in the Alpine. A little bit further down we've got Hot Dog on his way now, just starting the hangar straight. So named because it was, of course, an old airfield. Just shapes a move up the inside, doesn't quite make it work, but Pangrio gapping Konis now, a 0.8 second of a gap between first and second, and good starts all around. We have 13 runners still running, which is exactly what I want to see. I think we've got a problem with Lexa. Is that a spin in the Ferrari, sorry, in the Alfa Romeo at the foot of the field? I think it was certainly an issue, as the cars take 4 different lines for 4 different cars, 3 wide into the first corner, into Abbey, and who's going to come out of it? Anyone? The McLaren of Black Wolf taking a massive cut, a big chunk of front wing missing, and the worst possible time for Lexa to make any kind of contact. We've got a VSC for that. It looked like a white front wing, and it was a Williams front wing. So it was a Williams of Miyake that has had a problem, and he's now got the whole lap to drive round to get into the pits and put on different tyres. I wonder if we will see our first driver, who will be the bravest driver to go onto Inters through this race, if anybody. Who do you think will be the first penalty as well? And predictions for the win. I'm sure I will see Portuguese flags light up the chat shortly, because I'm sure the majority of the fans here today with us are here for Konis. Pangrio, though, took the lead from the start and has held it for now, with Konis in second, Yanni in third. Let's have a look at position changes. Yanni up 2, Hot Dog and Banks up 3. Banks potentially gaining from other cars' misfortune, but most of the drivers doing relatively well. We go back to green flag racing, and we continue underway with Konis just being gapped by Pangrio, and he's got a comfortable gap behind him from Yanni as well. This could be a 2-horse race on pure pace, but like I've said before, anything can happen in a wet race, and we just don't know who's going to have the focus and the throttle control to keep the car pointing in the right direction. Absolutely anybody's race, this one. There's a prediction for thunder in the race, we're told, so that should be interesting. Not something I've seen before. I hope we get some lightning as well. Some lightning effects would be awesome. Nice close racing here in the midfield. Well, what constitutes the midfield in a 13 car grid. A battle here, less than a second separating 4th to 9th in turn. Hot Dog doing well. Uh, 1.1 second between our race leader and second place. 1.9 between second and third, and then we've got these tight gaps all the way down the field. Black Wolf also closing on P11, but right now it's all about Hot Dog and his pursuit of Magic as they go down the hangar straight. Will get a great great slipstream coming up here, but without the use of DRS, the car's nervous to take the wet line into corners. It's definitely going to be very, very challenging to see what the guys have got underneath them. How much bravery can they demonstrate on the brakes? Because passing on the brakes is as difficult as it's ever been in F1 2021. Konis fastest lap and has closed the gap, but doesn't look like the weather's going to improve to the point where we'll get DRS. So everything, this is an old school style of race today. Oh, big moment for the Aston Martin of Casper. Tried to avoid contact but ended up nudging the back of Hot Dog, and I wonder if he's knocked a small element of front wing off in so doing. Hot Dog still the closest driver to anybody else on track as they head down into Brooklands and Luffield again for the 4th time. Drivers getting into a good rhythm. Wet tyres should be in optimal conditions right now. And not a difficult track to harvest your ERS, but there's plenty of opportunity to spend it as well. So sometimes that's a double-edged sword. Just look at this tight field we've got going on here. Fantastic stuff. Yes, Lexa and Miyake had issues, but the rest of the field very, very close indeed. Casper shaping for a move on Hot Dog. Hot Dog's losing a little bit of time while he looks in his mirrors. And yes, Buffet this time with an opportunity to head down the inside. Casper with very late braking. Gives an underlap to Yes Buffet, who gets the job done beautifully with a great track positioning through the final corner. And as they approach Abbey, he's ahead. Yes Buffet then with a move up to P7. He's now got his teammate ahead of him, and driving in the rain next to your teammate is treacherous. Lap 5 then of 26, approaching 1/5 distance with Pangrio in the lead. Still 8/10 back is Konis, and Yanni gapping further and further away. Just hasn't got the pace of the front runners, but is still holding on to that podium. We do see frequently we see issues with penalties and things affecting the races. We have a safety car. Looks like Miyake is out and has DNF'd. I can't see exactly where he is on track. I think his car's already been recovered. So what do the drivers elect to do here? Because they could get fresh tyres, but Pangrio will have to be the bravest of them to make that decision. He doesn't go into the pits for fresh tyres, neither does Konis. I wonder if anybody else decides this is a good opportunity. Not currently. Everybody coming down the straight between Stowe and Vale and opting to stay out of the pits. We've got a penalty there for Casper. He's the first penalty awardee, and Banks makes a pit stop. Will this be for Inters? Will he be brave enough? I didn't see what Casper got his 5-second penalty for, but before he's been in the pits, that's only likely to be a safety car contact or a corner cutting issue. So we get our first glimpse of the safety car. May well not be our only glimpse of the safety car today. Looks like one of the Ferraris running very slowly at the back of the field. Is that Banks? It is. He's just got the pit stop out of the way. That's why. Silly me. Pangrio though gets to look at the Aston Martin safety car for a few laps. Hopefully just 1 or 2. And they go past the old pit straight. I don't think that's actually got a name yet, other than just the old pit straight. And yeah, Pangrio with the lead of the race. Great effects there from the game of the splashes coming off the side pod of the car. That's pretty neat. I really like that. Even on an old, decrepit old PS4, that looks good. So I wonder how this safety car period is going to affect our drivers with the with their decisions on and their feeling on the tyres. Will they allow the tyres to get too cold? Will they keep them warm enough? Will they have taken off some of the wear rates? Will this reduce the wear rates? It's absolutely voyage into the unknown. Banks has pitted, changed tyres. He's gone on to fresh wets. So not feeling like a gamble onto winters yet. These conditions, with the amount of standing water we have on the Silverstone track, absolutely favouring still the wet tyre. I wonder if anyone will be brave enough. Lisa goes into the pits, and we'll see if Lisa manages to get any different tyres on. No, wet tyres, fresh wets going on again for him. And the support continues in the chat for Konis, losing one place from the start, but still very much in with a shout of this race win. Nothing too dramatic. Jesper has recovered to back where he started. Hot Dog up 3 places, and that's pretty impressive. And then Black Wolf and Banks largely gaining out of the misfortune of other drivers at this stage. We still have 12 runners, 12 out of the 13 that took the start. And the safety car continues to circulate. It might be down to Lisa not having caught the back of the field, but hopefully very soon he will have caught up, and we'll be able to get underway again very soon. Casper saying got a 10-second penalty for nothing behind the safety car, so potentially he could get this one removed. Although he will presumably have to take a pit stop. I think that was 2 lots of 5, wasn't it? He got through there. So hard lines for Casper. So hopefully he'll be able to appeal that one with the stewards if he doesn't have to serve them all. But there's a strong chance he will have to serve them and live with the bad luck. There should be still the opportunity to get a good result out of this one. We finally get the notification that heading down the hangar straight, that the safety car will be on its way in. So Pangrio will take the start. He becomes the safety car now as he lets Bernd Mailander go and get comfortable and get back into the pits. Pangrio then slowing the field and preparing for his restart. Pangrio's on pretty bad internet connection actually right now. When does Pangrio go? I think it's now. Down the final straight on the track into Vale. Not much that Konis can do about it, but Pangrio will be the first one to be affected by any form of change of grip or conditions. So far so good, away from the field very nicely. I'm looking at the roof of the pit structure for some bizarre reason. And Konis has closed within an extra 10th than he started this before the safety car, but it's not drastic. Further back we've got Edzak hounding the back of Yanni now. Edzak qualifying well, losing out at the start, and clearly has pace in this AlphaTauri. Was challenging for pole position through qualifying. Maciek behind Edzak, then we've got Hot Dog behind him. Everybody very close as battle recommences with this midfield. And further back, of course, we've got Jesper, Hot Dog's teammate, Casper, Black Wolf, Casper racing with those 10 seconds, unfortunately, of penalties. And the driver's quite happy to ride the curbs through Chapel, which is brave in itself. Rain lights blinking on the back of all the cars. No one's derating at this point. Konis getting within 6 tenths now. 5 tenths make that, so closing the gap. Definitely a day to be patient. A day to be pushing to about 90% most of the race, not going over the limit, because you're bound to see someone else go over the limit, and probably a day not to bother building too large a gap either, and take too much out of your tyres. Hot Dog now very close to the back of Maciek, as we've seen time and time again already this race. Looking pretty aggressive so far, and confident, running very close to the back of another driver. Just showing the level of mutual respect he has for the drivers if you're going to drive quite that close. So through Luffield, then different lines, an option, takes a late apex, good exit. I'm keeping an eye on all the gaps as much as I can. I think Banks is the closest at the moment. Banks looking very close to the back of the McLaren of Black Wolf. Kind of about 81 in the Ferrari for Banks. And have a thought for the spectators caught up in this terrible weather. Black Wolf missing the apex slightly on the way into Maggots. They head out of Chapel. I'm going to check out what is happening with Hot Dog. Makes a late move to try through Stowe, forces the Ferrari wide. We'll get a good drive out of here and maybe able to finish this move off into Vale. Launch is a late one. Ferrari has the inside line through Club. Apologies for the camera work. I'm trying to stay with this battle. And the Ferrari makes it on the way out. We've got some action with Casper trying to make a move up now. No joy just yet. Banks comfortably ahead of Lexa. And now it's Casper's turn to attack, as Hot Dog continues to have his momentum halted in his battle for Maciek's 5th place. Casper just making a nuisance of himself in the mirrors of Hot Dog. Now a much wider line on the way into Luffield. There won't be huge amounts of grip that far out in the puddles. Almost gets too good of an apex and has to bail out of the throttle as the car wiggles around on the exit curb. So lap 10, Pangrio from Konis. Edzak ahead of Yanni now, just making the move as I speak. Then Maciek, you see just ahead of this battle on screen, which is Hot Dog and Casper. Banks with a penalty for track limits, easily done in Silverstone. Up the inside then into Stowe, and looks like a good move for car 69 on the Aston Martin. Smoothly done, smoothly does it with Casper in the Aston through to finish the lap off ahead of Hot Dog. So Casper up to 6th, and eyes firmly focused on the back of the Ferrari ahead. Slightly further back we've got Lexa looking quite likely to action a move against Banks here. Man, the camera work is difficult to follow. Long lingering shots on corners without the car that you actually want to look at. My apologies. I would spend more time in first person view, but we've done it all the way through qualifying, so I'm conscious that we don't get bored visually. So Banks getting away from Lexa slightly now. Still the 2 closest cars on the track. All the way down there in 8th and 9th. Battling away for championship points. 11, and you do get a reminder of what Formula 1 used to be like without DRS. When you run wet races, you feel a little bit spoilt for action when it comes to trying to keep an eye on a DRS enabled race. Very different prospect when it's not enabled. But eyes focused on the screen because anything could happen. We've got a pit stop for Jesper at the moment. 10 laps is as many as he feels he can do on those wet tyres. Championship status, thanks Patullo. Kones is the leader, and Pangrio, I think he's in third or fourth place now. He's dropped a couple of places. I did read them out at the start of the race. I don't want to cut away from the race screen and miss any action. But if you want the full championship status, go back to the beginning of the stream temporarily, and you'll get them because I read them out. Vance looking good at the moment, looking confident. The question is, what kind of pace has Jesper Fay got on brand new wet tyres? Thanks to the boss for coming through on some of the standings there. That's fantastic. Very quick, off the mark is our supreme leader. Konis is getting close now, 4.5 tenths. Not quite as close as we see on screen between Banks and Hot Dog, but I'll cut to that soon as Banks goes for a slipstream enabled pass down into Stowe, and job done on Hot Dog. And it's not the first time Hot Dog's been got into Stowe, but Hot Dog decides that's enough for those tyres, and a potential undercut here. We'll see where he comes out relative to Jesper Fay. Further down in the grid, and as something's made that gap open up at the lead again. I wonder what that was. Looks like Jesper driving with a little bit of damage. Certainly got a damage on his telemetry, so potential issue for him. But where does he come out? Where will his teammate come out relative to him? I think he'll be comfortably ahead of Jesper. Perhaps not. As Jesper is screaming down, it's a very, very long pit lane in Silverstone, so they'll come out pretty close to each other. They went into the pits pretty close to each other before the pit stops first began, and yeah, Hot Dog out of the pits ahead of his teammate Jesper. So Maciek next is looking closest to another car. He's following Yanni. Yanni having dropped back from a really positive start. Maciek now P5 in the Ferrari with the Alpine ahead of him. And we'll see if anybody decides to pit from the front. No, our two leaders still locked together, elect not to go in the pits. But we've seen some drivers on a 10 and 11 laps old wet tyres go in. No such joy for the front five. Casper doing the same. Banks and Lex are staying out. It'll be really interesting to see what kind of pace difference the Red Bulls have got at this stage of the race. Alfa Romeo. Look at the rain looking almost horizontal on the track at the moment. Can confirm rain does fall in that direction in the UK, especially in the Midlands. And yeah, getting down there into a tight chicane. Brooklands followed by Luffield. Very, very long corner, Luffield. Now into Woodcut. We have a yellow flag, we have a safety car. Is that a Red Bull? I think it is. It's Hot Dog who's gone out of the session. Hot Dog, what happened? Where have you gone? So the safety car will make a move now to come out. Does this trigger a pit stop for Pangrio or for Konis? You've got to imagine that they do pit now. This is golden opportunity for them to get new tyres on. Konis, no? Really? Wow, okay. No pit stop. So handing the initiative now to Edzak, who could get a cheap one out of the way here. He elects not to. So burning through the rubber on their tyres. Yanni, though, from P4. Let's remember that one. Yanni from P4 into the pits for new set of, presumably, new set of wets. Maciek follows him. Casper stays out. And it's just Black Wolf who is yet to pit. And he makes good on that one. So while we go under safety car, I will be back in just a couple of seconds. Back with you. It's lap 16 of 26 in our Euro F3 round 6. Oh, a moment there for Yanni, who pitted under the safety car ahead of the other drivers he was racing with, and unfortunately has just ruined it with a little spin under the safety car conditions. He's still got those new tyres to fight with, so all is not lost for Yanni down in 10th place. Reminded that we lost Secret Hot Dog as a result of causing then the safety car, and Yanni catches back up to the crocodile. Pangrio is our leader. From Konis, Edzak, Casper Bankst up there very, very nicely, having made an earlier pit stop than everybody else, and is up 8 places now on our grid. Then Lexa, Lisa, Maciek, Black Wolf, Yanni and Jesper Fay make out our 11 car field right now. Lights are still on our safety car. We will find out on this straight whether they're about to go off or not. There we go, perfect. So we're back into race conditions very soon. Looking for another good restart. Pangrio still with those red connection bars. So Konis, if he wants to make a move on Pangrio, Konis will have to give him a very wide berth here. Very easy to run into them. Edzak from third place in the championship. Certainly want to get ahead of Konis, who leads the championship, but staying ahead of Maciek will see him in a much stronger position. There we go. Pangrio back to green flag. Pangrio away well. Konis half a second behind, and they continue to tackle the next part of the race. We've had confirmation from our supreme leader of ERO that no pit stop is mandatory in wet conditions. So the front four still running on laps they started on tyres they started the race on. So we will see how this tracks. Currently though, Konis looking as close as he has done since he held the lead away from the front, from the lights out. Looking very, very strong at the moment and well within range for a good slipstream, but at the same time a little bit of aero washout, which is lessened under the rain conditions, of course. Away we go then. Into Copse. Pangrio had a little bit of extra pace through Copse, so Konis is going to have to make that back up through Maggots and Beckett's. With the benefit of a little bit of slipstream down the hanger straight shortly, we should be able to start battling again on the way into Vale, I suspect. 11 runners still after that second safety car. Let's hope we don't see the Aston Martin safety car anymore. We've had enough of it already today. Oh, very, very close, down to a third of a second now into Vale and Club, but just not enough. It looks like Maciek getting by Lisa as they run side by side through Vale, but Maciek away now. Needs to move up the grid order because Edzak is absolutely challenging his current second place in the championship with this drive. So let's see what he can do. Bankst P5, strong showing from Bankst with a great amount of places made up. My driver of the day so far, as we're about 2/3 of the way through our race. Lisa getting by Jesper Fay, looks like, or at least they're making some sort of challenge on each other, but Lisa up to TP8, Jesper down in 9th. And we'll go back up to Lexa. I think we better go back to the lead though as well, because Konis getting close again, and they tackle now the old pit straight. Looks like Pangrio just shaping on the inside, just making a little move just to indicate that he knows he's got Konis behind him. He's well aware and he's prepared to defend. So 4/10, 3.5, 3 as they go through Maggots and Beckett's out of Chapel. This is within range to get a good slipstream, a purple middle sector for Konis. He's absolutely on it. He's decided this is the moment that Pangrio is likely to be most vulnerable on restart cold tyres. Konis running without ABS now and right up there with a challenge. Pangrio though needing to make up some ground after he's been incredibly strong in the races when he's actually taken part, but he's missed 2 of our 6 rounds. So our fastest lap for Konis, beautifully done, brings him to within 2/10 of the lead. Washes out slightly, really struggling now. He needs to make this move as soon as possible and be able to recover some of this tyre damage that he's got. Another penalty for Maciek. Penalties are going to be a big feature of the last part of our race. Oh, and Konis just drifts the car beautifully through Village as they head down the Wellington Straight. He lost a little bit of time as a result. It looked good, but unfortunately it doesn't look good on the stopwatch if you're going sideways. Closing again, and it's just torturous. He just can't get on the power as soon as he wants to, and if he does, he's going sideways slightly. So Konis with 90% ERS, more than Pangrio at the moment. He's got a good 15% on Pangrio, and yeah, let's see if he can close in. 4/10 again down as they approach Maggots and Beckett's, the most spectacular corners in Formula 1. And away we go down the hanger straight. Another purple middle sector. Konis is mighty through there. This is his opportunity. Does he go to the inside? Shapes to the inside. Pangrio sweeps around the outside. Will miss the apex, giving good racing room, but trying to hold on to the inside line. I think there was a slight touch, but I don't think anyone was particularly to blame. It's a wide corner. They're both trying to take the same patch of tarmac, and Konis didn't quite get it done there, but that was mighty close racing and well held by both drivers as they pitch it on into the Hamilton Straight again for the 20th time. They're not focused on lack of grip. They're not focused on the weather. They'll have rain drops all over their screens, but they'll be looking straight through them, and they'll be paying absolutely no attention to anything else other than where each other are on the track and finding their braking points. What a fantastic advert for ERO's F3. These two and their pace in the wet actually is down to a quarter of a second again. Pangrio leading Konis from Edzak and Kasper, Banks, Lexa, Maciek, Lisa, Yanni, Jesper and Black Wolf at the tail of the field at the moment on fresher tyres. Konis with a big moment on his way out of Luffield, so losing huge ground to Pangrio, just a slight miscalculation on throttle. I think those tyres are dying. I don't think they're going to get them to the end. Would anybody risk intermediates at this point in the race? The rain has never stopped. It's been teeming it down all the way through our race. And at the moment, the closest drivers are these ones in the battle for fourth. Kasper Bankston and Lexa, with Jesper Fay very close to Yanni as well. Let's just check in with those guys as they head down towards Stowe. Scene of some of the most memorable overtakes in Formula One history, Stowe, and Jesper almost two wheels on the grass on the way into Stowe with the defensive move from Yanni. I don't think that will make Jesper happy. He'll just need to be a little bit more patient to get round here. I think the drivers are going to try and run these tyres to the end, but certainly in the car of Konis, looking like they were almost gone. The treads and the depth almost worn away. You fancy that they would potentially be faster on inters at this stage, but the penalty for taking a stop shortly after a safety car is huge, and neither of our leading drivers, or indeed third and fourth places, are willing to lose out those track positions. Black Wolf gets by Jesper. I think a little problem for Jesper. I think he's had a little spin, a little off moment. And yeah, he's got very overheated tyres. He can barely get the car pointed in the right direction. He needs to cool them. But if he runs in some puddles, I think he'll have even more problems than he's experiencing right now. It's a constantly vicious cycle of overheated tyres and oversteer happening to him. Lexa then 4/10 back from Banks, who's 4/10 back from Kasper. Make that 3. Half a second separating the front two. I think Konis has got that little bit of extra pace without any mistakes over Pangrio. If he can get by, I think he'll keep the win. Just our front three and our final driver running without penalties so far, and it's lap 21 of 26. And this one's going to go down right down to the wire. Kasper running with 16 seconds of penalties. He's going to be nowhere at the end of the race, but as a matter of pride, he wants to have a good showing and finish high up. Konis, fastest lap on a 39.1, and he's closing back into the clutches of Pangrio. And here we have a move then from Lexa on the inside into Abbey. He's forming the meat in a Ferrari bread sandwich. Maciek round the outside, becomes the inside into the farm corner, but the inside line showing absolutely zero grip for the Ferrari driver, and they wiggle their way out onto the Wellington Straight, and it's a tough afternoon of racing for our drivers. Konis now half a second back from Pangrio, and battle recommences after a couple of laps of slightly easier life for Pangrio. They're on fairly even ERS deployment. They can barely spend it once, because you don't really want to be pressing the ERS while you're still rear limited on the way out of corners. And we have another safety car with 4 laps to go. Konis' heart will sink at the prospect of another safety car. Is that Jesper? Jesper looking slow again. We haven't lost another driver. I don't know if we've got damage or no damage listed on Jesper's car. Anybody else with damage? Let's cycle through them There's a turquoise damage indicator on some of these cars, but nothing showing as difficult too hard for the drivers to tackle. No obvious damage on the cars, so I don't know if someone stopped temporarily on the racing line and triggered the safety car. No pit stops yet. What about the Alpines, who have found each other on the track again? Drivers very reluctant. Oh, and a penalty for Lexa and colliding with Maciek. Often that's actually the reverse blame. And we've got a Ferrari headed into the pits, I believe. Is that Banks? Yeah, Banks into the pits. And once the pit stops have happened, there's the missing front wing on the front of Banks' car. So yeah, we saw a penalty indication come up. This should help our drivers get to the end without making a pit stop. But I didn't see Yanni lose his swing. I thought it was just... Remember that the Alpine front wings are almost invisible at certain angles until you see the end plates. So these cars looking okay at the moment. We have 16 seconds of penalties for Casper, 11 for Lexa, and then 3 each for Maciek, Lisa, Yanni and Banks, and a 6-second penalty for Black Wolf. Both, so the boss saying both of the Ferraris had front wing damage. Yeah, there's the end plate for Maciek missing. You can see the left end plate. I wonder if he will consider that worth a pit stop or just try and hold on. My bet at the moment is that he will hold on, because it doesn't matter what he gets to do when we'll have probably 3 laps or 2 laps left to run on racing speed. He'll never get by enough drivers to make this position back up. It's all about it. Can he hang on? Now, I don't think any drivers have changed tyre. We're still on wet tyres. Pangrio, Konis, Edzak and Casper looking to run the entire race on a single set of wet tyres. And we've got some very, very close drivers at the moment. The lights are still on the safety car, so I dare say we will... Oh, well, there goes Maciek in the Ferrari. Has in fact gone for a safety car, for a pit stop under the safety car. Another problem for Yanni, who has crashed into, or been crashed into, by another driver. So another penalty picking up. Maciek goes down, but he knows that if the safety car doesn't go in that particular moment, that he's then got the opportunity to catch back up to the back of the field. So we'll take the restart from the back if no one else has an issue. But we will have 2 laps to sprint to finish this race. And like I say, Konis, who was building on the back of Pangrio, will have it all to do again. Needs to be super close to the back of Pangrio on the restart. Yeah, appreciate the compliment and the advice from Petullo. I have to say it's a difficult job to do when you're on your own. Normally commentate as a pair, so I do rely on people on the stream to help me out, and always appreciative of people who can spot things and call out things, especially when I'm commentating on my own. I'm looking at 3 different screens at the same time, plus a track map. It's not making excuses, but it's not easy. But yeah, I appreciate that you enjoy the output at least. So we head down the old pit straight, and the driver's just trying to maximise the car. They won't need to do a lot of tyre warming. So yeah, our supreme leader is in a party with the Ferrari team, so he knows what they're up to and their damage situation. So that's again super helpful. I wish we had team radio. That would be awesome. We should try and have that somehow. Whether we have a mandatory audio party at the end of the season to trial it or something, that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Or a pre-season race. Safety car will be on its way in this lap, and it's taking its traditional time to inform us of that on the way out of Chapel. So the question is, who is going to take the W tonight? With Pangrio in the lead at the moment. Konis, I feel, has got a little bit more pace, as long as he can keep the consistency. and Edzak trying to get right up there into the mix in the championship, with Maciek right at the back on a recovery drive on brand new softs, on brand new wets. It looks like Pangrio's gone already, or is going on and he's on his way out of club. Konis nice and tight behind him. I think we've got some action further down, but you'll forgive me for staying in touch with the leaders, because this is where the win is going to be fought, and with all the other penalties going on further down the grid, it could be anyone's. Look how close Konis is to the back of Pangrio. He's absolutely determined to maximise every potential braking and acceleration zone. Just got to be careful that Pangrio doesn't brake check him, or brake earlier than he expects at least. And they head on into Brooklands. Almost call it Woodlands then. Brooklands into Luffield. Tight line for Konis. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. It's the slow. It's Casper. I don't think we'll get a safety car at this stage, but it looks like Casper is out of the race. Unfortunately, on lap 25, we're down to 10 runners, but we head on into Cops. We're going to ignore all of that, and we're going to try and stay with this battle for the lead. 2 drivers without penalties. What you see on the road is what you'll get on the checkered flag. Konis traditionally incredibly strong through the middle sector of the lap, and just he's still using that grass and that curb, and he's so brave through Chapel. Black Wolf picks up a penalty from 6th place. They get on into Stowe, and we're going to get to the last couple of opportunities now for Konis to make a move. It's all on this final lap. It's built and built to this single lap to keep or take the win. Konis be kicking himself for that slow start, and Pangrio has held on so far, but the pressure is so high on our front 2. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I would be a quivering mess if I were in this situation. Konis looking like he's got much better grip than Pangrio. This is the lap. They will spend everything they've got. Konis with a little bit of extra ERS relative to Pangrio. Banks getting by Jesper Fay in the background. Maciek now up to P7 on those new tyres. It's really working for the Ferraris with their late pit stop. So Maciek only 1 place away from where he pitted from with that damaged end plate. And good points for the Ferrari team this race, but not as good as for the McLarens and the Alfa Romeos. Alfa Romeo 1st and 4th, McLaren's 2nd and 6th. And I think Konis is too far back. What can he gain through Maggots and Beckett's for the final time today? He's so good through here. Will it be a new fastest sector? It is for Konis. Will it be one big dive bomb into Vale? He needs to get through Stowe perfectly. He's already got the fastest lap. There's nothing he can do. Pangrio getting the job done through into Vale and into Club. He just needs to be gentle on the throttle, hold the inside line. Pangrio across the line will take the win today. He takes the British Grand Prix win from Konis, and what a fight these two showed us. Fastest lap, new fastest lap for Konis. Edzak, distant 3rd really, crosses the line. Maciek, Lisa, Banks, Lexa and Black Wolf, Jesper Fay and Yanni all a lap down, believe it or not, and they go through. They get this one. So what a race we had on our hands today. Congratulations to Pangrio for the win, and to Konis for showing what a great battle between the 2 drivers. Brilliant driving. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. Banks with the most places gained and the Driver of the Day award for Ferrari. But today is all about Pangrio and his terrific drive through the race. What a well-deserved win under atrocious British Grand Prix conditions. The trophy is the wrong colour, but it doesn't matter. The champagne is sprayed, and for Greece and Alfa Romeo, Pangrio takes home all the glory. Konis and Edzak will be happy with their championship points, and battle will recommence same time next week on ERO's F3. I will take you through the finishing order. Hope you've enjoyed the race. Please make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button to the channel. There's lots of racing all the way through the week with ERO, but Pangrio it is with the win, Konis with second place and the fastest lap, then Edzak in third place, Magic in fourth. We've got Lisa for Germany and Alpine, Banks for Monaco and Ferrari, or Poland and Ferrari. Lexa in the Alfa Romeo is in 7th with Jesper Fay in 8th, Black Wolf in 9th, Yanni in 10th, and then of course we lost Casper, Hot Dog and Miyake at the end, or earlier on through the race. Casper will get a classified finish for finishing just 2 laps down from the rest of the field. But what a race, lots of penalties that were paid off through the session. Perhaps a little bit of negotiation around some of the middle order points, but there'll be no argument about the win or the podium tonight. Wasn't that a terrific race there? My name is Webbo. You can find me if you want to monitor my output. You can find me on Twitter at WebboRed5. I try and tweet about every race I'm on live for. But this has been ERO's F3. This has been a terrific, wet British Grand Prix. And guys, it's been a pleasure to be with you all. And I will catch you on the next race day.